Hello and welcome to Eavesdropping at the Movies. I'm Mike.
And I'm Jose.
And we've seen Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, the
Yes.
sequel to Maleficent, which came out in 2014, which you really liked at the time.
I loved it, yes.
I didn't see it until a couple of weeks ago when we were going to go see this.
And what did you think?
Well, funny thing is, I remember having quite a good time watching it. I think Angelina Jolie is an amazing presence.
She's the great star of the last 20 years. The great female star of the last 20 years, in my view.
But then, funnily enough, thinking about it before this film started, I was trying to think, what did I remember about it, having only watched it in the last fortnight, and not very much, frankly. It didn't stick in the memory.
I loved it. I loved that it created kind of a really a female-centered world, yeah, and that it changed the story in those ways. I thought she was an original presence, really, and I thought the film was rather magical. All that this one isn't, by the way, right?
This is shit.
This is really terrible, and I was surprised that it was directed by the same person.
Is it the same director?
Yeah, shall we check that? Yeah,
I'll do that because I'm right here. No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, that would explain it. Can you see?
I'm on my way. The director of the first was Robert Stromberg, who has done a lot in special effects. Actually, Maleficent was his first film as a director. He's done a lot in special effects and art direction. This film is directed by Joachim Running. Apologies for the pronunciation. He's Norwegian.
And what has he done before?
He has done Max Manus, Man of War, Kon-Tiki. He did.
Okay, I don't know that.
2012. Marco Polo. These are co-directions. Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. And on his own, this is the first feature that he's directed on his own.
Okay, I think it's very poorly directed.
Yeah, so do I.
There
was one scene I found interesting in it, actually, throughout.
Only one,
really. Which was the scene towards the start where Maleficent is invited to dinner.
Yes.
So the story is that she's raised this girl that you see in the first film, and the girl is now going to get married to the prince, and the kingdoms are sort of at war. No one likes Maleficent. They invite her to dinner, and it's set up as this promise of like it's going to kick off, and there's going to be word exchange and this sort of thing. And I thought this is going to be, there's so much potential here for high drama, really declarative sort of wonderful histrionics, and actually nothing.
Yeah.
It was really dull. They tried to. I mean, basically in the scene, the women are bitches. Michelle Pfeiffer and Angelina Jolie, and the guys are these drips who are trying to get laughs out of going, they were trying to sort of not be involved.
Okay, well, I want to say a few things out of what you just mentioned, really. So, the opening sequence was an example of how badly directed it is. You can barely see anything. The color grading is all off, and you don't know what's happening or why it's happening, or... Yeah, and actually the plot point that it serves for later on could have been done much better, much more excitingly. It's a complete, dud of a way to start a film.
Everything that's shot at night is badly shot and graded, as you say.
So here's a film that has an absolutely amazing cast. Almost all of them being wonderful, actually. I mean, I do think Michelle Pfeiffer is great, right? I think Angelina Jolie is great. And yet here's a director who doesn't know how to use what they're providing. All of the timings are off, right? So there's, there are all of these built-in jokes that the actors are playing in a kind of a high comedy way and being actually quite successful in terms of the delivery of the lines and all of that. But actually, just the tone is off. The timings of the whole film are off. So actually... You can see what the intention is. You can see the actors doing a good job of it, and it still doesn't work, right? It feels like completely slack throughout.
Yeah, it's a completely stale film in terms of tone and and the level of excitement and that sort of thing. Apart from Angelina Jolie and Michelle Pfeiffer, who would you name who was really good?
I thought Ed Skrein was wonderful.
Yeah, he was alright. Yeah,
and he was used kind of very beautiful. He just has this amazing look, right, throughout. is very powerful, actually. And I thought, Imelda Staunton and the Pixies or whatever they were, I liked them.
No, I don't like any of that's the thing. Like, I could see sort of how these actors are doing the job, but I don't think there's anything special about any of these performances, anything really captivating. Even Angelina Jolie, who, as great as she is, and as good as her presence is, well, for one thing, you don't see enough of her, I don't think. For a film that's got her name in the title, you spend a lot of time where she's just off, But there's so much that is by the numbers, I think.
Well, I think that that really is the direction. This is kind of, because the film has beautiful set design. The effects are wonderful. It's almost like a film that has it all, except the director is terrible. So, when the camera's moving into the towns or whatever, you don't see the point. You always feel that a better director would have brought in more sweep into what you're being shown, or kind of had more resonance or more poetry, or just had a greater effect with all of that, because all the raw elements are there, right? But it's just somehow he can't pull them together, really.
But I also think it's got a very bad script, which and that's one of those elements that it doesn't have. I think it's a stupid script that's not very interesting. It doesn't make any of its characters interesting enough.
I think it's one of those films, it's one of those by the numbers films which almost tries to be too politically correct. It's a we are the world film. Right? That's what the film is about. Yeah, it's about kind of reconciling differences, and we are all one, and kind of we love diversity, and blah blah. And actually, it's just so poorly done.
I mean, I don't think the message is the bad thing, but I think it just has it's a stupid time getting there.
Well, but the film is so much about the message that actually all of the other elements are completely slack.
No, I don't think the message is the problem.
Well, actually, I do think the message in itself is not the problem, but making the film about that message is the problem. Because the final wedding is never ending. It's like you have a shot of this person and this pixie and this, and it is like we are the world equivalent of this fantasy land, where you have each persons of the different species all coming together in this marriage. I mean, it's like sickening.
Yeah, it's a bad film. And I think you're right that he doesn't know how to direct actors. And part of it is directing them once you get into the editing room and ruining all their timings and things. Yeah. But part of it is not getting enough out of them.
Oh no!
In shooting,
I think Michelle Pfeiffer is tremendous.
I think she sort of is, but I don't think she's being asked to do anything that interesting. It's a very sort of, it's a performance that you could guess every moment. You know what I mean?
She does very interesting things, and she suggests things that are not in the lines, and I think she's wonderful. But I think I think she's wonderful. I think her performance is not as successful as it could be, because it's actually ruined by the editing and the timings, and actually kind of she's very good at using the camera, at playing with the camera, actually, but I think that the director could have framed her better, kind of.
I had a problem with the curse thing, so this is sort of minor spoiler territory, but it's not a very good film, so I don't care. Because the thing in the first film was Maleficent is furious about the guy that she loved and blah blah blah, and she puts the curse on the kid that says, before his 16th birthday she's going to prick herself on the needle of a spinning wheel and she'll fall into a deep sleep, and only love's true kiss can free her. And then she ends the curse in that film, as I recall it. And then in this film, it sort of comes back. And the idea here is that the curse is on the spinning wheel, not on the kid. Right? So this spinning wheel still exists. And because the thing in the first film was, it wasn't a specific spinning wheel. It was just any old spinning wheel. She's going to prick herself on one day. Yeah? In this, there is a spinning wheel that apparently is now the curse spinning wheel. And this is not explained at all. It's just something that you have to buy, I guess. Because then Michelle Pfeiffer's character is able to use this particular needle to stab her husband, send him into his sleep, take control of the kingdom, all this sort of thing. And the whole time I'm going, but okay, so obviously, it's fantasy, they can do what they want, but you do have to explain things in the logic of the world. And it just makes this quite dramatic change to what you knew about the way the Maleficent story was.
I saw that film so long ago, it didn't even bother me. I didn't notice it. I didn't care.
It's one of the classic things. The whole thing is the curse is on the kid. You curse people, not instruments of making clothes. I think it was stupid, and obviously the thing it allows Michelle Pfeiffer to do, in putting this curse on the king and pretending it was Maleficent, blah, blah, is kind of interesting. But they go about it in a stupid way, and the whole time I'm going, I don't like. It's like you're expecting me to be as stupid as you, or just let it go. It's kind of low effort. Low effort is putting it mildly. The whole film is kind of low effort.
Well, I don't think it's low effort. I think it's low skill, because you see the effort everywhere. The design, the effects, the stars, you see effort everywhere. What you don't see is skill, actually. And one of the things that I think exemplifies this for me is how Sam Riley is used. Because in the original one, he was like this really, off-center presence, right? He had a kind of a sharpness and a wit and so on. Here, he's filmed so badly, for one. He looks like he's eaten too much and done drugs, every night before he's filmed, right? He just looks terrible. He's given nothing to do. He's given some jokes, but actually that are very poor jokes and that don't land, right? So it's kind of, why have a great actor like that if you're going to if you're going to underwrite the role that way and then take such little care in filming him, right? And actually that presence that he has, stuff that he showed in Control and Brighton Rock, he's got kind of a look that's almost handsome, but also kind of has a criminal element, or he's got this very interesting look. It's not used at all, and kind of, what he can bring to make that role interesting. He is, after all, Maleficent's crow, is somehow completely dissipated in this film. So I suppose in that sense, kind of, there's a lack of intelligence, kind of, in terms of how he's deployed. Kind of, the director is unaware of what he brought to the last role, to the last performance of this role, and how it could be made better. It's actually kind of like just a pale, careless copy of, what was in the first film.
Yeah. That is most of the film.
Yes.
Apart from the fact that they then bring in this war, which wasn't sort of really... So because the first one was this kind of sort of interpersonal drama, about Maleficent's past and who she was and stuff, and this becomes this war for control of the kingdom, and not for control of the kingdom, but for the kind of the magic folk sort of right to live, I suppose,
and control of the kingdom.
Yeah,
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Certainly for Michelle Pfeiffer, it is. And that kind of has some interesting aspects to it, and I liked seeing this kind of whole race of similar horned winged folk, the Dark Fae, I think they're called in this. I don't know if I've no idea if any of this goes back to previous incarnations of these stories, and that's Chiwetel Ejiofor kind of leads them. And Ed Skrein is one of them. He's a kind of warmongering element in there, and they're kind of interesting. And I liked, I suppose, that it did occur to me that I liked how many people of colour were in there as well. And I suppose you could put that down to more of it, all political correctness. But I think it was a good thing, and I like seeing them. The only problem was that then they film everything in the dark, and they have no idea how to light even light-skinned people, and dark-skinned people are harder to see in the dark, and they make no effort. It's really shocking how badly they shoot in the dark in this. Really shocking. I don't get it at all. And it kills so much drama in there. Because you do have these kind of elements, as you say, in the set design and in the kind of world design of these places where you can go to bring this kind of high drama out, and this melodrama or whatever. But they kill all of it with the visual lack of skill.
Yeah. I think what's good about the film is that, again, it's so female-centric. The central conflicts are really between kind of Michelle Pfeiffer and Maleficent and Ellie Fanning.
I don't know.
But, the problem is that they make it so dull and so uninteresting, and that kind of, the melodramatic aspects of it don't resonate enough. They're not heartfelt enough.
No.
So actually, it lacks both the tension of an action film, and it also lacks the emotional resonance of a melodrama.
And Elle Fanning is terrible too, I will say.
She looks beautiful.
Yeah, but that's not the point. She was terrible, and Harris Dickinson, who plays Prince Philip, is terrible.
Actually, I kind of quite liked her, but he was terrible.
Well, I mean, at the start, like when I was saying, because he proposes to her, and then I said they deserve each other, what I meant was, because they're both wankers, who are complete personality voids. I really hated them from the start, and I was just waiting for Maleficent to show up, because she's someone who has something interesting going on.
I thought they were awful. I liked the young girl. He was terrible, and actually kind of ill at ease. I mean, he's meant to be a Prince Charming. The role is a nothing of a role, but also he just seems physically uncomfortable wearing those tights.
The thing about him supposed to be a Prince Charming is not exactly. I mean, it's from the start in this, and in the proposal scene, he set up this proposal to kind of lure the girl out the forest and get her into a nice secluded area so he can propose. But then you've got the three fairies sort of watching, going, he's going to choke, he's going to choke. Like, the idea is that he's not exactly a Prince Charming. He is kind of weak and effete. And that's also what you get in that dinner scene, where it's the women who are having this confrontation, and the guys are there trying to not be involved, and trying to just sort of escape almost.
It's rewriting it, but it's doing it very poorly, because the roles are so poor, they should have cast more charismatic and indeed more handsome men in those very weak parts. At least kind of, allow them to bring something to the role, because this way kind of they not only don't bring anything, and that was for the king as well, but actually they detract. Kind of it's just so stupid.
Anything good to say about it? No.
Well, I mean, the good things are what I said at the beginning. I think it has great actors, and I think they are very good. The set design is fantastic. The effects are fantastic. It's just kind of the job of directing and pulling it all together is very, very poor. And it is very poorly written. And some of the scenes, actually, you just can't believe how dumb they are.
There was one thing that I noticed that I thought was kind of interesting, that was something the film was clearly trying to do, which is this idea of sacrifice. 4 times you see people literally stand in the way of attacks from other people and end their lives for others. So you've got Chiwetel Ejiofor does it, protects Maleficent from the volley of bullets. The Blue Fairy does it when she goes into the organ and stops the woman from shooting iron at them. There's a couple of other times, and then also Maleficent does it right at the end when she protects the girl.
But actually, even that I thought was stupid, because you need to be given information. What has happened to Maleficent that she can now be dissolved by that power and then bring herself back to life again? You don't know why. Why does she have that power all of a sudden?
There is an element of kind of making things up as they go along. Like, clearly she can be affected by that iron sort of concoction they make that can kill things, because other members of her race can be killed by them too. And the thing about coming back to life is, I suppose you saw her regenerate her wings, didn't you, in the first film? So maybe there's an inkling of that. And isn't that sort of dinosaur creature that Chiwetel Ejiofor shows is supposed to be a phoenix of some sort? I can't remember.
Well,
but he said, like, basically, you are her, you have her blood in you, and that, I suppose, is meant to make you not be that surprised when she comes back to life.
Well, I didn't get it. I mean, I knew that
it's low effort. I mean, I'm meeting the film more than halfway, I think.
Well, I mean, I would have liked, to have known, what her limitations and what her powers really are. So actually, the film builds a set of tensions around what kind of danger she's in. But that felt like a cheat. That you felt she sacrificed herself for her daughter, and then actually out of nowhere she kind of comes back to life, right? So that it takes that it's the form of a phoenix or whatever, kind of indicates that connection, but actually it doesn't justify how she got that power, where that power comes from, or
No, I agree. It doesn't put in the work in establishing what the rules are about, what when we learn new things about his character. I mean, I think the thing about Maleficent is you're not supposed to have known. I don't think she's supposed to have like other people like her. So she discovers that she is like other people now. She's like a whole other race, and I guess that leads to some sort of it's supposed to lead to some discovery about who she is and thing. But it doesn't.
Yeah, you're speculating. I mean, the film doesn't really
exactly
show it.
Yeah.
So
the thing about the iron sort of dust that they make to kill the creatures. It's just like it's just something the film can come up with and say, and now this is a biological weapon.
The thing is, it could have been made so much more interesting by giving the audience more information. And that could have easily been done without taking anything away from the film. So poor writing and poor directing kind of ruin everything in this film.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening. We're eavesdropping at the movies, and we are on
SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, and something else to listen to, YouTube. And social media is Facebook and Twitter, and the website is eavesdroppingatthemovies.com. And we're going to go and see The Irishman now, to get that out of systems.
Maybe. All right, thank you very much for listening.
Bye-bye.